Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And we're back at the beautiful Maxwell Place Pier. And a person who spent 6 months in a beautiful city is the person to my right. He's back for the second week in a row, and that is actor, world traveler, and just an overall great guy, my good friend, Alex Corrado. Great to see you again.
Hey, Peter, great to be back. Thank you.
Exactly. So last week we touched upon the one restaurant, Michelin star restaurant, that's not coming to me right now.
Yes, Le Procop.
Yes, thank you so much. There was another one that you went to. Why don't we jump right into that?
I want to get into a place, actually, when we were there from May to August, we could not get in, me and my wife. So when we got back in January, when we knew in December we were going back to Paris, my wife made a reservation there.
Okay.
And this is a special place. So a single man for yourself.
I'm taking it. I have a girlfriend.
Oh, no, I know you're taking it. I'm saying, but if you're thinking of a great spot for an engagement, I have just the place for you, my friend.
I didn't even make them finish. All right.
And by the way, 70,000 people a year get engaged at the Eiffel Tower. A little stat for you.
I know. Well, I really want to be part of just an overall.
It's like crazy, right?
It is crazy. It is crazy.
Right. Anyway, so getting to this restaurant, it's in the Eiffel Tower.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Les Jules Verne. Named after the great
in
writer.
The Eiffel Tower.
It's in the Eiffel Tower on the second level. The Eiffel Tower, it would equivocate to being on the 40th floor. It's the second level of the Eiffel Tower, which would equivocate to like a 40-story building.
Gotcha.
Okay? So the whole experience of going there is unbelievable. So there's 3 levels basically at the Eiffel Tower when you go visit, where you have like places, observatory decks.
Yeah.
First level's lower, and they have a little like tourist place called Madame Brasserie. Second level, as Jules Verne, and then on the top they have just a champagne caviar bar, but it's just a walk-up window. It's very tiny up there.
It's almost like getting a dirty dog in New York, right?
Exactly right. For 65 euro, you get 2 glasses of champagne and a little tin of caviar. And the day I went up there, actually, it was like windy and rainy. So it was like, you can't even really enjoy it.
65 euro, wow.
65 euro, 2 glasses of champagne, little tin of caviar. But anyway, let's get back to Le Jules Verne.
Yes.
So a new chef just took it over. And I actually just read this like 2 days ago. Okay. So now they
Pulse exclusive.
Yes, a Pulse exclusive. Now, the Michelin star rating goes 3 stars is the maximum. Okay. But he just got 2 stars. With 1 star, everybody brags about. But he just got 2 stars, the new chef there.
Right.
His name's Frederick Anton. So shout out to Frederick. But anyway, so the experience starts when you get out and you go into the Eiffel Tower, and you say you're going to Jules Verne. It has a private entrance. And they do like 1 sitting a night. It was a 4-hour experience. I had a 10-course menu.
What?
Yes. Crazy.
Wow.
And the preparation and the mise en place and the service, those classic restaurants like where they say, like, you take a sip of water, you put it down, they're refilling your glass right away. That's exactly the way it is. You're going to spend a couple of shekels there, so come prepared. But I'm telling you, the experience.
Is it worth it?
It's absolutely worth it. Me and my wife loved it. And a funny story, so.
And this is another Michelin-rated star.
This is a 2-star.
2-star. Wow.
Just got
okay.
2024 certified 2-star
Michelin.
Understood.
Okay.
Les Jules Verne. So they start you off, and then they have the options are 3 to 5, but 3 to 5 courses, prefix, chef menu. My wife's a pescatarian, so she wouldn't eat the meat. Then I also added all the cheese dishes, the desserts. They throw in a couple of amuse-bouches.
What's that?
Un amuse-bouche, Peter, my friend, is
what?
To tantalize and amuse your mouth. Those are on the arm. The chef sends those out to the table. Well, it's like a little appetizer.
Oh, I see.
It's another course.
I see. Okay.
It's another course.
Okay, I see. It's like a palate cleanser?
Yes, we're going to have great video and photos of everything I ate there accompanying this piece.
He's also producing this piece at the same time. I absolutely love that.
If the shoe fits, and by the way, speaking of my shoes.
Speaking of your shoes, absolutely stunning shoes here.
Only me and Kanye could pull these off, Peter.
And I think you're pulling off better than him.
There you go. Thank you. But
anyway,
so these are
right.
So we had taken a trip to Bordeaux. They have a great Musée de Vin there.
Oh, good.
It's called the City of Wine Museum. great stories about wine, the history of winemaking, and how the Romans came to this area. And they started making, actually, again, how everything great that's French is really Italian. Not to to be proud of our heritage, Peter.
Amen. Amen.
Coming out of Paisan Con, we are.
I was going to say, and Alex, you're welcome back here anytime to talk about actually cuisine you had in Italy.
Of course. Well, we'll get into that too. Maybe we'll talk about that after, right?
We don't want to Paris first, yeah.
Yeah. So Le Jules Verne, the girl comes over and she gives me the wine list, and she goes, "Well, what are you thinking, the sommelier?" And I said, "I'm thinking, By the way, I love my Italian reds, but now I also when in Rome, it was the Romans. I was drinking a lot of French wine.
Not as good as Italian wine.
Well, how could it be? So I said I'd like a nice Bordeaux, and she goes, "Well, sir, like what Bordeaux would you like?" I said, "I don't know, Saint-Emilion region." She goes, "Okay, I suggest this one." What do you think the price on this bottle she suggests?
120 euros.
1,700 euro. Now Peter, I swear to God,
never take the recommendation.
No, 1,700. But you know what? They figure people are here. It takes it's 3-month waiting list to get into this.
So they're going to spend the money.
People come in. They know they're going to get hit when the bill comes. So I go, you know what? I'd like something a little more reasonable.
Okay.
So I go, what about this one? It was like 290. Right? Okay. She goes,
Still
all
not
right.
Cheap.
No, not cheap. But listen, if you're going to go, you're going to go.
You got to spend, right?
Exactly. The Jules Verne. You're not going there. It's no McDonald's, bro.
Exactly.
It's not
we'll
KFC.
Have that later. Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, she comes back, and this is beautiful, and this is one of my great pet peeves, Peter. She goes, "I'm sorry, sir, we don't have that bottle, but I'll have to recommend this comparable bottle." And it looked like it was the same price. Long story short, when the bill came, it was only 165 euro.
Oh, wow.
It was delicious, so I was happy with that.
All right, good. Good.
But that was at Le Jules Verne for a unique, great gastronomic experience. The private elevator alone in the Eiffel Tower, just for Le Jules Verne restaurant, is worth the price of admission.
Wow. All right, Alex, we have a little less than 2 minutes to go here. Is there anything else you want to talk about in Paris in your travels?
Quickly in Paris, I mean, to mention a couple other restaurants that people could look up. Le Châtelet, it's like a little French country barn right near Notre Dame.
Gotcha.
There's the Caveau de la Huchette right around the corner. If you go to Le Petit Châtelet, you could go there to listen to some great live jazz. Where supposedly Jim Morrison hung out with Salvador Dali in there.
Wow.
Talk about a surreal-looking experience. Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Another restaurant, Absinthe, in Place des Marchés Saint-Honoré, right near where our apartment was. And also you got to go to the Hemingway Bar in the Ritz for a drink. And you have to go to Harry's New York Bar for a French 75. Tell him I sent you.
Oh, Alex Corrado sent you. I absolutely love it. Alex, would you, I guess, in case your wife gets more work in Paris, you would go back out there in a heartbeat?
I'd leave right now.
Is that true?
I'd buy my clothes there.
Oh, wow. Holy
yes.
But if somebody says, you know what, Alex, you have a choice between your favorite food city in Italy as compared to Paris, what are you doing?
Well, I'm a little partial to Bologna, Peter, because I did spend many years there. So,
yeah.
And Bologna's a great food city.
Absolutely.
That might be another episode.
Whenever you want to come back, you can
got
come
it,
back.
brother.
We're at the pier now, losing daylight a little, but that's all right. We got through it.
It's all good.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you. And
Thank you.
Again, we want to just give a quick shout out to the folks at Paisan Con.
Paisan Con, Nicky Petito, Billy Pompeo, great job. Very proud of you. And listen, as we said, you don't have to be Italian to be a Paisan.
I love it. Thanks again, Alex. Really, really appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. We will be right back.
Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to go on our Facebook and our Instagram pages by searching The Pulse with Peter B. and like and follow us on each of those platforms. We're constantly updating those pages with previews of each week's segments and cool stories. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. Still here at the gorgeous Maxwell Place Pier. And folks, I feel like we were going to put the person to my right on a milk carton because he hasn't appeared on the Pulse in years now. And he's probably one of our favorite guests. And that is my good friend, Nick Mattia, the president, founder, and CEO of Ready Strong Meals. My man, Nick, great to see you again.
Glad to be back, Peter. Glad to be back.
We even took out the stick mics for you today.
We did. I feel very special today. I'm not going to lie.
And I love the paraphernalia.
Yep.
I'll give you my mailing address afterwards, and we can always send it there.
Sure. Got the hat. ReadyStrongMeals.com if you want to order.
Exactly.
Go to merch and order up.
I think for the people at home who probably haven't watched you in 3 or 4 years, why don't you explain to them what Ready Strong Meals is?
Yes. So exactly. So we are a prepared meals business based in Fairview, and we make healthy meals for people looking to lose, maintain, or gain weight. Right now, we have about 9 pickup locations that you can choose to pick up your food from, and we deliver all throughout Hudson County, Bergen County, Essex County, Passaic County, and then all of New York City, some outer boroughs as well. So, yeah, it's been I've been in business for about 7 years now.
7 years?
Yes.
Wow. So the first time you were on the show, we were in studio.
Yes.
And it was the pandemic. So you guys survived, basically.
We
did you survive? And did you actually see a spike in business? Because people were really, I feel like the meal prep service was kind of growing during that time.
It was. So we actually didn't deliver during COVID. We only had pickup locations. We had about 3 locations where where people picked up the food. So obviously when COVID hit, I got extremely nervous because my entire business model needed to change. So we quickly pivoted to delivery only. And what we were doing was we were cooking for a lot of the nurses and doctors. If you remember the organization Flag,
I do.
They raised a bunch of money and they were donating to companies like myself, restaurants, to feed a lot of hospital workers. So that was kind of keeping us afloat. And then people in the beginning of the pandemic, it was nerve-wracking for a lot of people because they didn't know what was going on, right? So a lot of people were cooking at home, and then after a while, they were like, screw this, I don't want to cook, I don't want to deal with it. So they were finding services like myself, and we were delivering to people during the pandemic. So we were like super busy, which I thought we were going to be slow, but we actually, there was an uptick in business, and there was a noticeable trend where our average order increased from $50 to about $75, $80. So people were actually ordering more food during the pandemic. Yeah, so.
Do you remember, and you and I had such a good conversation a few weeks ago, that we were talking about, like, at the beginning of the pandemic, people were like, nah, we're just going to cook meals.
Yes.
When they,
everyone was a chef during the pandemic, if you notice. Everyone was Gordon Ramsay. And then after a while, after like 30 days, they were like, screw this. I don't want to deal with the dishes. I don't want to go to the grocery stores. Okay, if you remember during COVID, the grocery stores were insanely packed.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was happening was a lot of the vendors, okay, I actually had to go to grocery stores because a lot of restaurants weren't ordering a lot of product. Right. So a lot of these big vendors, you weren't getting the best stuff. So I had to go to the grocery stores, I had to go to like ShopRite, I go to Whole Foods, and I had to kind of source all my product through the grocery stores to keep, my business going and to keep the best quality product at our fingertips. So it was interesting.
No, totally interesting. And I also feel like, as I said in the beginning of the segment, the meal service prep business boomed at that time.
Yes, it did.
What makes Ready Strong Meals different than a lot of these imitators, I want to call them?
I would say 2 things. I would say customer experience and food quality. So customer experience and food quality is what I think about on a daily basis. I make sure that the customer service is the best, right? So when you're dealing, any logistical problems you might face with delivery or, any questions you have, you're dealing directly with myself, the owner. We're not outsourcing any of that business. And then obviously food quality. So we use the best product. Everything is made in-house. Everything is scratch made. So we're not buying frozen products. We're not buying, frozen vegetables. We're getting organic vegetables. Very good meats. We deal with, farms in the area. So we work with Goffel Farms to provide all the meats, the chickens, the eggs that we, offer. And, those are the two things, right? Customer service and food quality.
Yeah, and talk to me about how your menu has expanded.
Yeah.
I remember when you were first on the show, you gave me these delicious meals.
Yes.
Let me think. It was a salmon dish, if I remember.
Salmon and the meatballs, I believe.
Salmon and the meatballs,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm sure they're still on the OG menu, as they say.
Yes, they're still on the
but
OG
how has
menu.
your menu expanded?
So our menu, we had about 10 options back then. Now we have over 30 different options to choose from. So we have, various dishes from salmon, fish. We have some vegetarian options. We've been rolling out some healthy pasta options that people love. We have shrimp options. We have a stuffed pepper with ground turkey.
Oh.
Yeah, it's ground turkey and
Speaking my
lean
language.
beef. Yes.
Forget
Little
about the
cheese.
merch. Just send me some food.
Yes, I got you. No problem.
I
got you covered. So right now we have 30 plus items. We're expanding. We expand into breakfast. So we have a couple breakfast options, and we're quickly adding new stuff and taking away stuff that's not necessarily popular, and keeping the OG items like the salmon and the meatballs on the menu.
Totally cool.
So,
totally cool. And I just want you to stress to the audience, how much you've grown.
Yes.
I mean, you are expanding into New York City, I believe.
Yes,
you told
New
me,
York
correct?
City.
Yes. So
we've expanded. So we really want to expand into the outer counties, such as Bergen, Essex, Passaic. So that's been my focus over the past, year or so. We've expanded, and people, they reach out to us, and they might not know that we have, we deliver to that area. So we're also looking for other pickup locations as well. So right now we have, I think years ago, we only had about 2 or 3 locations. Now we have 9 locations.
Wow.
That we, anywhere from Jersey City, Hoboken, Union City, and we recently opened one up in Orange Theory, Tribeca in New York City.
And how much has your staff expanded?
Yeah, so it has expanded quite a bit. We have 2 drivers on staff. We have a main chef. We have a sous chef. And then we have a plater as well as a dishwasher. So went from a couple people to about 6 or 7 people.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. So.
All right, Nick. Well, people want to know more about Ready Strong
Yes,
Meals.
absolutely.
They want to know where they can order, what the pickup times are,
Yeah.
the deliveries. I believe you were using a third-party delivery service too, if I'm not mistaken.
So we actually we went with a third-party delivery service. It was a disaster, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Not
not to mention any names.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna throw them under the bus, but now it's my own drivers. I hire them. I pay them. So I feel better because I can control the entire process, as opposed to having a third-party vendor who works with a bunch of other companies, and they're not necessarily, they don't care as much, right? So it's our own drivers. Ready Strong Meals shirts.
Okay. So where
yeah.
can people find out more?
Yeah, so you can find out more on our website at readystrongmeals.com. Everything is listed there, the delivery times, the pickup times, when you order. Basically, you have to order before Thursday at 10 p.m. for the following Sunday delivery or Monday pickup. So we give options where if you want to pick up the food on Monday or deliver from about 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. is the delivery time frame where our drivers hit the road Sunday morning and they deliver right to your
And it's
doorstep.
all on your website, right?
It's all on our website, FAQ. You reach out to me, myself directly at nick@readystrongmeals.com. Happy to, answer any questions that you have, but the ordering process is very simple.
Nick Mattia, the president, founder, and CEO of Ready Strong Meals. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy for you, man.
Glad to be back. Yeah, I'm happy for you as well.
Paisan.
And you too. Your show has grown quite a bit as well. I see guests every week. I still follow you guys on
Well, you're
on
the
Instagram.
only one. No, I'm kidding. Thanks again, Nick. Congratulations. And we look forward to seeing you on
Thank
a
you
future
so much.
show, all right,
Appreciate
my
it,
man?
Peter.
Appreciate you again. Oh, another handshake.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. All right, folks. From Maxwell Place Pier in beautiful Hoboken, New Jersey, we will be right back.
Peter Biancamano back with you. Don't forget to watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. Also on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., you can watch our show on our YouTube channel, and you can also binge watch all of our old shows. Who doesn't want to keep watching The Pulse with Peter B? We'll see you there.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. And last week, she joined us discussing sun protection. By the way, I'm your host, Peter Biancamato. She gets me all tongue-tied. I can't even remember my name when she's on the episode. And what did we do? We came back to the pier a week later. And that, of course, is our medical insider, Dr. Tina Shah. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Exactly. Thank you for coming back. And we're just about in May right now. It is the last weekend of April here. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, you hear about mental health on every news program and every social media feed, but the issue is so complex because there's a lot of different illnesses that fall under mental health. And I was just wondering if you want to explain some of them today.
That's right. And honestly, we could take up the entire show talking about mental health, but I really want to focus on two big things. Number one, depression, and number two, loneliness.
So let's start with depression.
Okay.
Is that the most common form, the most common illness, I should say, of anybody who's struggling with mental health?
It is really common. In fact, 20 million people suffer from depression in the U.S., and I suspect that's an underestimate.
Totally, because people don't like to admit it.
That's right. But I think there's a range, and so it might make some sense to define depression. Depression is when you sort of lose the feeling of finding pleasure or you have a low mood, and it happens nearly all the time, and it's been going on for at least 2 weeks. That's actually the medical diagnosis of depression.
And now, how does one cope with depression? Do they seek professional help through a psychologist or a mental health expert, or do they go to the pharmaceutical route? I guess it all depends on what their symptoms are, correct?
Well, let me throw you a question.
Sure.
Now, you're a pretty athletic guy, and let's just say you twisted your ankle and you actually broke your ankle. Now, if I was your doctor and I said, yeah, just walk it off, would you find that sufficient?
No, of course not.
So that's how I feel about mental health. When we have mental health conditions like depression, you can't just walk it off. You do need help, and help comes in two flavors. And generally we do them together, but sometimes we need one or the other. They are getting therapy, that is talk therapy, by a licensed professional, and there are lots of different types, and they all are really good. And the second big bucket is medication. And so this is the time where we say, look, if I had a broken ankle, I wouldn't walk it off. We have to treat depression the same.
So interesting. That is so interesting. And I guess you really wouldn't know what type of help you need unless you get it diagnosed.
That's right. And it's a time where we have to be a little vulnerable. But the truth is, the goal for everyone is not just to survive, but it's to thrive. And so when you've been feeling like you've been having a low mood, it's time to talk to the people you trust, and hopefully your doctor is included as part of that, but even starting with a friend and sharing what kind of feelings you've had. You may notice, and here are some warning signs that may make you want to think about, am I depressed or not? The things that you used to find really, really fun and pleasurable, they're not so fun anymore. That's one. Having just less energy, that's two. Having trouble sleeping, that's three. And there are a few others, but here are three big ones that might trigger you to say, I wonder if I'm not just low mood, but if I might be clinically depressed. Because if you are, then we can help you get out of that and get back to living your life.
Unbelievable. I do want to go back. You mentioned loneliness. And to me, we were talking off camera about this. And I was shocked about that because the statistics that you were going to throw at the audience, that you threw at me, was amazing. Please explain to the audience how loneliness can lead to severe mental health issues, for one.
Well, even if I were to take a step back, loneliness is so harmful that it is a medical condition. Loneliness, that feeling of being disconnected, lack of social connection, is the same harm as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It also increases your risk of other medical conditions that we know. For example, it increases your risk of stroke by 32%. So this is no joke. This is not something to, put on the side and say, okay, I'm feeling a little lonely. This is just as big of a deal as having high blood pressure or having diabetes. In fact, the prevalence of loneliness is actually very high, higher than the prevalence of diabetes. only 39% of adults say that they aren't lonely.
39%?
That's
So
right.
the majority of adults are lonely. And what can loneliness cause that can affect someone's physical health more than their mental health?
Well, I think there's a bunch of different factors, but if we all go back to thinking about a time, and I think the pandemic really put a lot of us in this situation where with social isolation, you lose connection in some way. You start losing the drive to take care of yourself. That's one piece. So you may know what you're supposed to be doing, but maybe you miss that medicine, or maybe you don't floss your teeth as much as you should be. And all those things build up. So we kind of stop taking care of ourselves, from medications to eating healthy to sleeping right. And then there's just the other effect, and we're still unpacking this from a deep scientific level, but we think that loneliness is connected to differences in your hormone levels that then increase your risk. It's almost like thinking about how stress in and of itself increases your risk of heart attack, and perhaps it might be the same mechanism for why loneliness gives you an increased risk of stroke and even an increased risk of diabetes and heart disease. So this is no joke.
But Dr. Shaw, what's the difference? I have friends of mine who are older than me, and I'm very, very young. So, I mean, a lot of people are older than me. Just kidding. Who are happy being, and well, at least they say they're happy being alone. So what's the difference between a person that's like, no, I don't want to find a significant other. I want to spend the rest of my life alone. I'm too busy with my job. And a person who might be suffering from a form of loneliness that might be more severe.
Yeah, so I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So here's the thing that we know about social connection. There are lots of different flavors. So one, how many different friends or people do you have in your life? But also, what's the quality of the interactions? So while you may not have a partner, perhaps you have enough quality relationships that are deep. Some people might have a few close people in their circle, but have deep relationships. Others may thrive more and feel like they're connected. That's the biggest thing, feeling like you're connected to society, to other human beings, even if they might not have deep friendships, but they have a lot of friendships. So this comes down to asking someone, do you feel lonely and do you feel isolated? And if the answer is yes for either of those, then we need to take this as seriously as a heart attack.
Unbelievable. And what are some of the government's, helplines, and what is the government doing specifically in the state of New Jersey to curb mental health?
I love that you asked this question, and I want to make sure everyone knows there is a hotline for when you're in crisis or when you see someone else in a mental health crisis. And by that, I mean, if someone is having feelings like they're going to hurt themselves or hurt someone else, just like we have 911, we now have 988. And I'll repeat that again.
Never even heard of that. Wow.
Yes, that's right. 988. This is our hotline. It's actually a national hotline, but we have it in New Jersey, staffed by local folks to help you when you're in a mental health crisis. And what I love is that Governor Murphy has really prioritized mental health. Last year, he was one of the governors that endorsed rolling out a playbook of tactics to help with youth mental health, which is a whole huge crisis of our youth today and is going to have implications for decades to come. And actually, on April 14th, Governor Murphy actually released an announcement saying that we are going to invest $12 million for these very special crisis teams. They're mobile crisis teams. So we know, for example, that oftentimes a police gets called when it's really a mental health issue and not really a police issue. But police aren't the best trained, and it's very challenging to really go in with that level of expertise. We now have funding for community experts in mental health to come within the hour to the home and really help address mental health crises. I mean, this is revolutionary.
Still a long way to go, but this is an unbelievable start. And,
That's right.
And kudos to Governor Murphy for that. Absolutely. Well, Dr. Tina Shaw, our medical insider here on The Pulse, thank you so much for coming back a second week to this gorgeous pier, and we'll see you very, very soon, I hope.
Well, I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Really, really appreciate all your insights. And hopefully people would watch the segments and take some advice. Just repeat that number again, 988.
That's right. If you feel like you are worried about harming yourself or harming someone else, or you're in a mental health crisis, please call 988.
Thanks again. Thank you so much. All right, folks, join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. I hope you have a great week, everybody.